Shalom, everyone. Come on in, find us seats. Oh, Ella, thank God for you.
Ella's ready for the kickoff.
Welcome, everyone. Come on in, find a seat. So tonight we'll begin by welcoming each other with the words of Hine Matzov on page 10.
Shevirachim gam yachad.
Hine matzov u'manayim, shevirachim gam yachad. Hine Shabbat Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im. Shabbat Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im. Shabbat Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im. Shabbat Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov u'ma na'im. How good it is to be here together, brothers and sisters, family and friends, and people who come to this place for so many different reasons. Whatever it is that brings you here tonight, we hope that you find what it is you're looking for. Now, some of the folks who are here tonight in this general section right here are here not just for Shabbat, but they're here because tomorrow Miss Lucy Lyle is becoming Bat Mitzvah. And so, Lucy, we are going to start our service tonight by inviting up Lynn Wallace, Bessie Rubenstein, Rita Solko, and Jennifer and Mark Rubenstein to help us with our candle lighting and our Kiddush and our Motzi. And I think everyone has been given different jobs. So you can take your turn. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Someone has to eat it or it's not official. There's so many different ways that we make this Shabbat experience special and unique. And one of them is thinking of this time of the week as being more than just nights, more than just a time, but really being like we are inviting someone beautiful and blessed into our midst. And so we sing the words of Lecha Dodi on page 20, thinking of Shabbat as a bride that we're welcoming into our spaces.
Lecha Dodi. Shalom, materet ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzala. Toch emunei am segula, bo'י chala, bo'י chala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Continue on page 28 as I ask you to rise for the Baruch Hu and also to rise in your heart. Raise all of the prayers up, all of the words, all of the intention, all of the kavanah. Join us. Sing along these sacred words.
On the top of 31, praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. This prayer that we recite, it reminds us that sometimes, even though we feel the darkness, especially in these darkest and coldest days of winter, that in and of itself can be a blessing. And so we always say this evening prayer in some version or other to remind us that there is a God who will both roll away the dark for us and bring the light back to us. And so we sing those words, asking God to roll away the dark.
Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyo balayla, goleh onim nechoshet, goleh onim becomes day, day turns to night, roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
On page 33, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And we join in Shema on page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Yair Adonai,
Shem kavod malchuto, leolam, leolam va'ed. Baruch Shem kavod malchuto, leolam, leolam va'ed. Yael Adonai, Adonai, Yael Adonai, Yael Adonai, Adonai, Yael Adonai, Adonai, Yael Adonai, Yael Adonai.
Please be seated. Ve'ahavtam et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'beitecha uv'lachtecha v'derech u'shofbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Tomorrow in the Torah, Lucy is going to read from us the very beginning of the Exodus story, right about to the point where the Israelites are about to cross to freedom. They have to get actually all the way to the shores of the sea, so then they can get to Sloan next week, who is going to actually say the prayer that we're about to sing in her Torah portion. Now, Sloan, you will only hear you once a year, as we only get to hear Lucy once a year, but the Michamocha, we get to sing this every single time we're together. So join us, if you will, for Michamocha on page 40, which will be in next week's Torah portion.
Michamocha va'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, mi chamocha, mi הקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם מי כמוך האלים אדוני מי כמוך נדע בקודש מלכותך ראו בניך וקיים לבני משה ומרים זה אלי ענו ואמרו זה אלי ענו ואמרו יאי לי לי יאי לי יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי לי לי
So prior to this service, we had our Tat Shabbat. And I have to say to the Tat Shabbat kids, you guys are amazing. I can't believe you came to the main service. Extra bonus points for all of you. But I'm saying this not just to the Tat Shabbat kids, but really to all of the kids. And that means all of the grown-up kids too. That we understand that sometimes you may not know all the words. That is okay, because the grown-ups also don't know all the words. A lot of times we come to these different prayers in our prayer books, and so many of us, whether we grew up Jewish or not, the prayers may not make sense to us. We may not speak Hebrew. We may be able to read the words on the page, but have no idea what they mean. Don't worry. All of our ancestors understood that sometimes we would come to these services and not really know what's on the page or just not feel what's on the page. But when we get to this point in the service, the assumption is that even if you don't know, this is when at least you should turn your hearts to whatever it is that you are praying for at this time. So I'll ask you, if you will, on page 46 to rise. And even if you don't know the words, even if you don't know the tune, to offer the prayer of your hearts as we ask God to open our lips so that whatever comes out, in whatever language it may be, that it's a prayer that goes straight to wherever it's needed most.
Adonai sefatai tiftach Adonai sefatai tiftach Adonai sefatai tiftach Ufi yagit hilatecha Adonai sefatai tiftach Adonai sefatai tiftach Adonai sefatai tiftach Ufi yagit hilatecha Adonai sefatai tiftach Ufi yagit hilatecha Adonai sefatai tiftach Ufi yagit tehilatecha Adonai sefatai tiftach Adonai sefatai tiftach Adonai sefatai tiftach Ufi yagit tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora Elohei
גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים וחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Please be seated. So at this time, we are going to turn our thoughts to those who are in need of healing. And so when we offer this healing prayer, I invite you just to take a few moments to think of yourselves of those people and your circles of family and friends who may be in need of healing. We'll offer some words of prayer and then invite you to share their names if you so wish.
Elna Refanallah Refua Shleima Elna Refanallah Refua Shleima HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem. May God heal us with strength and compassion and the will to revive our souls.
If there's someone you're thinking of and they would appreciate knowing their names were shared here, I invite you to do so at this time. We're thinking too tonight of Arlene Alper and Eric Ash, Betty Blumoff and Glenn Figgis, Carl Greenberg, Linda Lander, of Colton Olson, Mackenzie Robinson, Harriet Snyder and Daniel Trent, Lacey Weinstein, David Wool, and all those who are praying for. May healing come their way.
Shlema mina shamayim Refuat ha-nefesh u'refuat haguf, a renewal of body and of spirit, and let us say Amen. Refanallah, Refuah Shlema, Elna,
nala refuah shlema.
Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'go'ali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, O God. Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri
Far, far away, and long ago, there lived a great king. The king would go and eat at his table every day and meet with his advisors. And he would take along with him his son, the prince. One day, the king went to his great table, and all of the great advisors were gathered around, and they looked quite frightened. They looked very scared because they didn't know what to say to the king. It turns out that the king's son, the prince, was not at the table. The prince was under the table. The prince was not wearing any clothes. The prince was pecking at little stones that were on the floor and clucking. The king was very disturbed to see this sight. And he gathered his advisors, and they looked under the table. And the king said to his son, "What are you doing?" And the son replied, "Gawk." The advisors around the table realized that the king's son, the prince, now understood himself to be a chicken. And this was bad. For those of you who haven't interpreted that way, it's not a good thing when the prince seems to identify as a chicken more than as a prince. The king gathered his advisors from around the land. Doctors, magicians, soothsayers, and one rabbi. The doctors did their best. The soothsayers did their best. The magicians did their best. But none could move the prince from his chickenly position. And so the rabbi came in after observing all of these things, and just watched, observed, and listened. And so, having seen everything that everyone else did, the rabbi got down under the table, started to take off his shoes, his socks, his jacket. Oy vey, says everybody. But he kept going. And lo and behold, the rabbi is sitting there with the prince's son, clucking. And the prince, for the first time, looks up and says, "Who are you?" The rabbi says, "That's funny, I was going to ask you the same question." The prince said, "Well, I believe that I am a chicken. And I no longer really connect with my kingly position and royalty." So the rabbi says, "I've heard you. I understand. I've listened. Can you still be a chicken, but put on your clothes?" The son thought for a minute. It's not really common for a chicken to wear clothes, but if you're a chicken and you could wear clothes, I could do it too. And so they both begin to put their clothes on, and the prince robes himself in his princely attire. And then after that, they begin to discuss what it might mean to return to the table. And the son, the prince, says to the rabbi, "I really don't feel like a chicken should be sitting at the table. I don't feel like it's a chicken's place. Chicken's place is under the table, clucking and picking at the stones." The rabbi said, "That's true, but could a chicken sit at the table if a chicken wanted to?" And the prince said, I guess I could." And soon, the prince returned to being a prince, and the rabbi bowed before the king. And the tale ends with great happiness and joy as peace and understanding were brought back to the kingdom. This is not just a tale for little kids. This is a tale told by the Baal Shem Tov, the great Hasidic rabbi who had to go out, venture out to the people, listen to their problems, and help them make sense of a world that they didn't understand, of a Torah that made no sense to them, that was in a language that they had no familiarity with, and that they felt alienated from. The Baal Shem Tov is telling you in this story that you have forgotten where you have come from, and that we all have forgotten who we are, and that we are princes and princesses, and that we belong at the royal table wearing royal robes. But we think ourselves sometimes to be chicken. We think we don't even deserve a seat at the table. And the world often tells us that. And the Torah portion that I had the good fortune of studying with the Bat Mitzvah and her family tells this at the beginning. "Go to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his courtiers, in order that I may display these signs among my people, and that you may recount the hearing to your child and your child's child what I did, all of my signs that I displayed, in order that you may know that I am Adonai." But we forget. We forget the order of things, and we think that we're in control, or that other people are in control, and that we are not good, and that we are not good enough. And at the beginning of the story, before Moses ever confronts Pharaoh, the Torah teaches us and breaks is it the third wall? The fourth wall? Whatever Ferris Bueller did in that movie when he talked to everybody. And the Torah says, I'm going to tell you the end of this story. It's going to be great. Everybody in this story who's a slave is going to be redeemed. Everyone who's stuck is coming out. Everyone that's struggling is going to be set free. At the end of this story, there is hope. But right now, the story starts out with a confrontation. A confrontation that asks Moses to remember who he is and who he identifies with. It's also a reminder that we forget when we read this story what we should know how to tell. To tell ourselves that we actually came out of Egypt. Every prayer service, we sing the Mi Chamocha. It's a story. And it reminds us that when we're stuck, we can get unstuck. But sometimes we read the story, we come to these places, and we feel like a chicken in a synagogue. And the Talmud understands this. And the Talmud says, how should somebody, if they're going to tell this story, tell it, whether it's to their children or their grandchildren, or if they have to tell it to themselves, because they can't hear it, because they are stuck in Egypt. And the Jerusalem Talmud, not the popular one, the unpopular one, the Jerusalem Talmud, says the way that you tell this is according to the way of the 4 sons. Have I arisen some PTSD? I'll try and take you through it. There is a portion on Passover, and I'm going to give you a little bit of Passover tonight that we say because it's dark and it's cold outside. I'm going to give you a little bit of springtime right now. In this Torah portion, we have to tell it to our kids, our grandchildren, but also to ourselves. Blessed be the one who gave the Torah to his people, blessed be he. According to 4 sons did the Torah speak, one who is wise, one who is evil, one who is innocent, and one who does not know to ask. And I would like to say what is so awesome about what Rabbi Amy was talking about before in the Amidah. I want to echo her sentiment. That many of us come to this place, we come to Judaism, or we come into a Jewish family, and we feel a great discomfort. And we feel like we should know what's going on here. And that's the one who doesn't know to ask. Sometimes we come to this place and we think we know everything. I don't know if you know any people like that. Nobody here is like that. Sometimes we come to this place and we say, I'm not good at all. I'm wicked, actually. I don't belong here. I belong here like a chicken belongs here. Better you should have a chicken sitting here than me in the synagogue. What good am I? I'm a wicked person. And then there are some people who are here who are just like astonished, like, what is this guy talking about? What's with the funny hats and the robes? Am I really connected to this? And then more importantly, really the wicked one I like to talk about a lot, I'm sorry. The Rasha. The wicked one is famous because the wicked one says, what have I got to do with these people? Who are you that I should hang out with you and spend time and say prayers with you? Maybe I'll go and say it in my own house with my own elite cadre of people. Why should I go and mingle with all these other Jewish people, with all these other folks? I separate myself from them. I find them very annoying. I'm overwhelmed by them. We are the wicked son, the wicked daughter. We are the ones who are wise and kind and loving and compassionate and know the rules and studied hard. We're the innocent ones that don't even understand what's going on. What's everybody doing here? What's all of this about? How do I relate to this? According to 4 sons is this story. And they are not 4 separate people. They are an aspect of something called panemius, an internality. None of us is one thing. We are many things. We are broken, and we are strong. We are in exile. We are redeemed. We're little kids who are grown-ups. We sometimes don't even know the right questions to ask. But still, the Torah teaches us, tell yourself the story. Remind yourself of the story. And don't forget that you were once in Egypt and that you were once confined, but that you are no chicken and that you belong in this place and in many other places, especially at the King's table. May we all, in our own minds and hearts, find redemption. Shabbat Shalom.
Like 3 sermons that I want to give in response to this.
What are you, a rabbi?
I know, that's what I want to say. So we have a few things coming up that I have to riff on it because it totally connects to what you were saying. So this idea of trying to feel like really there's still all this knowledge that we have to learn. This is such a big part of actually everything that is happening in the next few weeks. Oh, sorry, thank you, Tanner. In the next few weeks at Temple Israel. So I want to be sure that before we turn to the conclusion of our service that I do make sure that you know about all of these opportunities that there are to really figure out what it is, what kind of knowledge there is to learn about our sacred story, but also, like the chicken story, which is my favorite of all time, to make sure that we are meeting you where you are so that you can find your place. So a few things. First, tonight we have a number of the members of our upcoming class leading with a Jewish heart. We're so excited. Rabbi Michael and I are really looking forward to the opportunity of learning with you, but we know that you're actually going to be learning from a lot of people in our community. Leading with a Jewish heart is something that we only do every few years, but it's an opportunity to empower people who feel like they want to know a little more because maybe they have learned some things, but they still have more to learn, whether it's about Temple Israel or about the Reform movement. It's just an opportunity to be able to learn and grow together. So we're so looking forward to being with all of you. They're all the people who are wearing the name tags tonight. So say mazel tov to them if you wish when you see them. We're really thrilled to be able to have you as part of this class. Also, we want to tell you, if you're not quite ready to dedicate yourself to leading with a Jewish heart, but you still want to learn something new, this Sunday at 9:45, Rabbi Michael and I are teaching a class that's called Jews with Tattoos and Other Taboos. So we welcome you to join us for that. That should be a lot of fun. And we have all sorts of different opportunities coming up. Next week, we're celebrating Tu B'Shvat. There's a lot happening, so we hope that you will come and keep experiencing this with us so that you can be maybe more of the wise one, even though we should be all
a balance of all the inner faces of the Torah.
Absolutely. So I'll ask you now, if you will, to please rise, and we're going to turn to page 282 for the words of the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות,
ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא צמחקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
On 287, may we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. And though so many of us are here tonight to experience the joy of being together on Shabbat and to share simchas with each other, we know too that there are those who are here tonight or who are watching from home who are with us because they're honoring a loss in their lives. And so we recall with love the names of those taken from us in recent days, and our hearts go out to their families in sympathy as we recall their names: Mary Mills Kennedy and Jay Schwartz. We now recall the names of those, the anniversary of whose death occurs on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the Wall of Honor for perpetual memorial: Dr. Harry Agress, Walter Baker, Beatrice Epstein Berger, Pearl Bluestein, David Chernus, Blanche Sheely Cohn, Ann Isis, Lillian Flegel, Meyer Frank, Betty Friedberg, Joseph Gelber, Helen Goldsticker, Toodles Green, Sadie Greenblatt, Victor Gross, Samuel Heiling, Rose Wohl-Herman, Max Horowitz, Edward Jacobs, Jack Kessler, Ada Korech, Matilda Lair, Michael Levy, Albert Listener, Max Mayer, Norma Schwartz Mendel, Pearl Mendel, Bertha Michelson, Matthew Ryan Neal, Maurice Newmark, Boris Orris, Arthur Rosenberg, Helen Factor Ross, Leona Ross, Benjamin Gottlieb Rubin, Moritz Henry Schuchat, Tilly Siegel, Nancy Shapiro, Faye Sharon, Loretta Greenblatt Silvermintz, Ira Simon, Harry Simon Jr., Joseph Stein, Alfred Freund Steiner, Bob Sondheimer, Sarah Bamberger Washauer, Toby Weinstein, Cora Sheila Weinstock, Marvin Weitzman, Marilyn Werner, Sigmund Wolf. So with these names and the names we keep in our hearts, we turn to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divarach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv emru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'kudusha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, ta'amiran ba'ama v'emru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'emru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'emru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
So we want to thank our Ruach Band for their beautiful music tonight, and we have a closing song that we're going to do with them on page 341 with the words of Lo Yisagoy.
Lo yisagoy el goy, cherem
lo yisagoy el goychem, velo yilmedu ol milchama. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. No one should learn war anymore. Lo yisagoy el goychem, velo yilmedu ol milchama. Lo yisagoy el goychem, velo yilmedu ol milchama.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.